Assalamu alaikum, sister. Thank you for writing to our live session. As I understand, you are asking why Islam is such a miserable religion. And you're basing this on your family life, how your parents are, going to the masjid and listening to the messages given there, as well as really thinking about things and what is being propagated in the name of Islam. So I'm not an Islamic scholar, okay? I want to get that out first and just make you aware of that. So if this response does not satisfy your question, please do write to our section called Ask the Scholar. So one thing is that Islam is a beautiful religion. It truly is. And those people who, are Muslim or say they're Muslim, they're responsible for their behaviors, right? Allah did not give us like a lack of free will. He didn't make us robots, right? He gave us this beautiful religion, this beautiful spirituality, this beautiful way of life. But he also gave us freedom of choice, right? He didn't make us robots. So we have a choice of how we're going to be, how we're going to treat others, where we're going to put our values, as well as whether we're going to be pessimistic and miserable and complaining and abusive and cruel, compared to being merciful, kind, loving, and supportive of one another. And the important point here is that Islam is a religion for structure, for mercy, for forgiveness, for encouragement, for serving Allah, for having love, okay? And the people that are not following the foundations of Islamic teachings, right? Those that are not following these teachings, they're the ones to be held responsible, not Islam, not Allah, but those people who are not, being good Muslims and following Islam. So kind of like briefly, if you go to the masjid and it's always negative sermons, and it's always talking about, fear and suffering and punishment, that's not a balance, right? In Islam, we're supposed to have a balance. So while, of course, we should know about the consequences of sin and doing things that are horrible and wrong, we should also know about the blessings and the benefits and the love that Allah has for us, as well as the beautiful life of the beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. It's not all about, trying to get people to compete and gossip and harass one another and keep reminding each other how terrible we are, that's not really what it's about. Yeah, we're to give reminders, but it's about uplifting one another and showing love. And why imams cannot spread more of these uplifting messages, I'm not really sure what the answer is to that, because, in some masjids, they spread beautiful messages and uplifting messages in some areas. Some areas they don't. But I'm not really sure where you live. However, I do know that, for example, in the U.S., where I'm located, there's more uplifting messages about Islam than negative ones. And again, as a reminder, we need to be aware of our responsibility as Muslims and the consequences if we don't, follow Islam. But we also are made very, very aware of the blessings and the love that Allah has for us. So in a nutshell, basically, sister, it's, what you're experiencing, sadly, is because of your parents' choices, right? You state that your parents are rarely happy. You state that your father, is full of jealousy. You state that he gives your mom an allowance and makes her pay for home renovations. You state that, your parents pitted you and your siblings against one another for memorization, and things like that. I mean, that is not the fault of Allah. That is not the fault of Islam, and that is not the religion, right? Parents should encourage their children lovingly and teach them the right way, but they should never, never make it, make the religion so it is a burden, or that it is a competition, or, that it creates animosity between, siblings or family members. That is not, what the purpose is. So sadly, you've been exposed to Islam. You were born a Muslim. You were exposed to Islam through a dysfunctional family. And inshallah, hopefully, sister, one day soon, you'll have the opportunity to really learn the true meaning and the true beauty of Islam. So I encourage you, don't give up. And I ask you to please, reconsider your feelings. I know it's hard because this is how you were raised. But inshallah, if you can separate yourself from your family at some point and maybe go somewhere else, or, attend masjids and Islamic conferences where emphasis is on what Islam is about, which is love and mercy and caring for humankind and one another. So with that said, sister, please do seek other environments where Islam is balanced and presented in a loving way, the true way through which Allah has wanted it to be spread and propagated. Because Allah loves you. He really does. And it's just very sad that, your whole life as a Muslim has been a negative experience. But perhaps this is, a learning experience, so that when you do discover the true Islam and the true way of life of how we're supposed to live and treat one another, that way somebody maybe in the future who's going through what you're going through, you will be able to explain to them and help to comfort them and help them understand just what Islam is really truly about. So with that said, inshallah, you will find, the true happiness and the true meaning of Islam, aside from how you grew up. We wish you the best.